Hi and welcome, my name is Joshua from Tag. It's so good to have us back on this journey of R. In our last video, we've learned extensively how to get and set a working directory in R, and in the last video I published, we learned how to import files with the .csv extension into our platform. So in this video, we'll be doing something very interesting, and this is how we can bring our Excel files into our platform. So why are we doing this? Because most of us are familiar with Excel, and Excel is such a wonderful spreadsheet application developed by Microsoft to make you working around data very easy. So sometimes after preparing our data, you might be interested in bringing this particular data into our studio platform. So how do we do this? This is what we'll be doing right now. So like I've always said, there are a lot of packages in our thousands of packages in which you can use in achieving your aim. But for the sake of this tutorial and time, I'm just going to focus our attention on some few packages, like it could be one, and if time permits, I can share on more packages. But let's start with this package, read Excel. So if you don't have this package, please don't bother yourself, just go to install and then read Excel. Check this part of the install dependency and then install. So for me, I have it. I just have to click. I just have to cancel. So I have to load this particular package for me to have access to the functions inside the package. So I'll say read Excel and then I load it. So this is the data set we want to bring into R, the student performance. So here it has like 4 sheets. The first sheet have the entire data set. The next sheet have the information on the reading score and the gender. The next sheet, the writing score and gender. And the last sheet, gender and the math score. So what are we going to do? The first thing we'll do is to be sure we understand the folder where this particular data set is stored. So this data set is stored in the folder practice, which is a folder stored inside the folder document. So how do we do it? We have learned this in the previous video, how to set a working directory. So we change a working directory from the default document to practice. So you do that by going to section, set working directory, choose directory, and then you could move from this particular place, document, and then you search for that part, practice, and then you click on open. So right now our working directory is set to practice. For you to be sure, you can run this line of code again, get WD, and you run it. You can see it is set to practice. So now let's store the data set now in a new variable in our code DAT, and then we use read underscore Excel. It's a function from the read Excel package, and then you could read a lot about this function by using the question mark. We've linked that. So we say read underscore Excel, and then you supply the information about the name of the data set we want to bring in. So I'm going to say study, and then I press tab to perform the pattern matching, and I select the student performance.xlsx extension. And then so what am I going to do? So if I run this by default, if you check the global environment, it's going to print out information on that, telling us that it contains 1000 observations of 8 variables. So what is happening here is that by default, if you run that line of code, it will only print out the first sheet for you. So now if you're interested in having like the second sheet or the third sheet, this is one thing you will do. You will come to this place, you say sheet, and then you say I want information on the second sheet. If you run this, now that has changed from 1000 observations of 8 variables now to 1000 observations of 2 variables. And if you check, you will see it is the reading score. Go back to our Excel file, you see what we have on the second sheet is the reading score. So if you want to have a good understanding of, okay, how are these sheets numbered, you can just do this. You can say Excel underscore sheets, and then you supply the name again, and then you run it. So it tells you the first sheet is student performance, that is the entire thing, the name, and the next sheet is with the name R score, the next sheet is with the name W score, the next sheet is with the name M score. So why are we doing this? because you might just want to be specific, or you might want to specify the sheet not with number but with the name. So you can easily say, put it in code and say W score. So you run it, and obviously you know what will have will just be information on the writing score. So again, that is if you want to use the name. So let's still put it back as 2, and then let's run this, control enter. So the 2 we're talking of now is the reading score. So let's take, for instance, you're interested in seeing the first 100 observations. So you could easily use this additional argument by saying n_mass, and you say I'm interested in the first 100, and you run it. So we now have it as 100 observations of 2 variables. If you're interested in the first 50, you can as well specify it using that argument n_mass, and you run it. So we have 50 observations of 2 variables. So you could easily check, and you see we have it reduced to the first 50. So this is what we're also doing. I want to believe we can still remember this function when we say head, and then we put in the variable, and then we say, okay, I'm interested in the first 30. So it prints out information on the first 30. We see on our console we have the first 10 printed out, and it tells us that we still have 20 more rows that we have to view. And you can view that storing this, like you can call this dt. Oh no, let's use another name. Let's say DTA, and you run this. So if you check your global environment, we have DTA to contain 30 observations of 2 variables. So one other thing again, that one other additional argument you can supply to this. Let me clear what we have with this nmass, and let's use this function called skip. So let's say I skip the first 5 observations from that entire data set. So if I run it, you would see what we're trying to say is that please omit the first 5, start reading from the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, etc. So you can also do that. So one other thing again that you can use, another package you can use, is this package, the xlsx package. It's another very interesting package again. So now it has a function that is called read dot, I'm commenting because of our time, read.xlx, and then what you just have to do is to supply the name, let's say the name of your file, and then you have to put a sheet index, and then you can supply this additional argument of header equals true. So you can also use this particular one, and you can also use this, because this is used for xlx, like this, xlx, and then this is used for this particular one, xlsx, and you can also say read.xlsx2, yeah, and then you supply the same argument, the name, the sheet index, and header equals true. That is if you are using that particular package xlsx. You can use all these particular functions. So you can also use Excel Connect. You can use this Excel Connect package, and at the same time you can use the GData package. So each of these packages are available online. You can, information on each of these packages are available online, and you can read more on them. And please don't forget to always use the question mark. If there are functions you don't understand, don't stress yourself. For instance, you want to read more of the read_excel function, you can take your cursor to this particular place and press function 1 on your system, and then you have a lot of documents that you can read on. And my system is a bit slow, but I'm expecting, oh good, it's back. So I'm expecting to have like a documentation where you can read more information, description. You could see, let me zoom it so we can view it very well. Okay, perfect. So this one I'm saying, you could see read_excel. Those arguments, what do they mean? You can read about them. You could see the argument, the path, the sheet, the range, the column names, column types, etc. So these are some of the things that you can do to improve your knowledge on the use of R programming. Thank you very much for your time. and thank you for choosing to learn R with me. Do have a great day. God bless you.